Hello Tarot friends, this is Julia from Tree Flower Tarot, and this is a comparison between the Gill Tarot, the Thoth, and the Rider Waite. This is the suit of wands, and for Gill we have potency, and it's a hand, see the hand? Holding a wand in flames. And this reminded me a lot about the burning bush of Moses. So it's the contact with the divine, the first contact with the divine. Here in Thoth, we have the image of the tree of life. Here, see the three, and then come down here. It's kind of in the flames, and the tree of life, which can also be seen as the body, is penetrated by the spirit, the flame, the fire, and movement, you know. What makes things exist, divine will. And here we have the wand, the rod, you can see it's sprouting life, teeming with life, and spirit can be seen here as also as this, you know, like kernunos, you know, the sap, the movement of life that the sun gives, and that energy in life. So, yeah, and that's the potency, the potential. So you're first touched by the light of the divine, and now you are called to tame that light, to make it manifest in the world. So you seek a mission. You seek. So you know you find out you love music. So now you. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So now you want to learn to play, right? You want to make that happen. Even though you are safely in your tower, you want to see of the world. You want to do something, you know. That divine spark is moving things within you, you know. When you have two sticks rubbing on each other and make fire, that shock of divine energy with your will is making you want to do things, and that's dominion. And then when you know, you go forth and you want to make that into something that you have to do. So the three, you're now 2D. It's an idea now. It's a will, and you can see this in virtue for Thoth, because Crowley really valued the will, you know. So the will of God is coming down, and it's you see it, you know, as an ideal, as a virtue, and as something you must follow. To be a virtuous person, to be a good person, you know, it's the will of God. You feel that, and it gives you something to do, something to go forth, and a mission too. And he's like this, you know, he's looking out at the mission that he has to accomplish. Sorry for the glare, but everyone knows Rider Waite, right? And here, you know, he's learned and he's gone in his mission, and now he's graduating. He's completion. This will has come and become embodied in that person. So now what was only a spark and in the Platonic world has now become part of his being, of the being of this. It's become something real. Yeah, you're celebrating that. It's become part of the body. And you also have the Oh, the cross. The 4, the cross. So it's something that you feel now. It's a truth that you can no longer deny. So if you see something as sacred now and you feel that, and your will is now within you, you can no longer ignore that. It's become something that you want truly in your body. And you know, like when you go to school, and you can also talk about the 3 degrees and initiation, 1, 2, and when you have the 3rd degree, now you get to play with the big boys. Now you're graduated and you're a person, go forth and do something. You know, you're aware of things. You have a mission. And then we go to the 5. With that mission, you are now going into battle and testing that out in the world with the other people, with you know, as action, as something you're doing. And we can see the different perspectives here. We have Rider Waite is much more like, you know, you're in the fray and you're doing things, and yeah, you're making it happen. And with Thoth is a bit like that as well. You know, it's we compare the 6 and the 5 here. You know, this 5 is much more battle-like. You know, it's steel. It's not a frou kind of metal just for show. It's real weapons, and they're facing outward, so they're defensive. And the strife, what you have to do now that you know something, you go out and do it. Endeavor. And the Gill is much more like, you know, now you go forth on the adventure, now you go on to play in the world, do, you know. And so we have 6. After the battle, you have victory. And of course, the other side of victory, which would be like the reverse, you know, would be obviously like losing. You're out of balance. But with the 6, you have the balance. So you have accomplished something, you know. You have united the above and below, and you have done something in the world. And you also have the union of the sexes, so male and female, and that means something that is accomplished, because with the union of the sexes in symbology, you have the creation and life is being generated. So that is a victory. If you create life, then that is the victory of the light in the world. Okay, and you can all here again, you know, these are facing, they are venerating, you know, the pharaoh. It's more pharaoh-like, you know. Okay. And when you have accomplished that, you now have a greater battle, because now you and now you have to fight. It's loud outside. You must test yourself. You have to fight against the ego. You have to, now that you have gained the, you know, like in Arthur, and now that you have gained the kingdom, you must go out and seek the grail. You have a new responsibility. You have a new test facing you with the 7. It's you against the world, you know. So you have to know what you stand for, and that is valor. Now 8 is that frenzy. I don't know how you say frenzy. Yes, that frenzy of energy. 8 is quite a high number in numerology. You know, it's a lot of energy feeding on itself, so it's always like, and we can see sort of like the molecules moving, you know, making matter happen in the 8. And what's the book? This one. Duquette talks about how it's kind of like when you're two friends drinking lots of coffee and talking all night and producing a lot, but that you kind of get a burnout after. But it's the kind of activity of high energy that needs to be maintained to achieve something, you know, to make it happen. So it's a lot of concentrated energy. You know, it's like a pianist playing. You can't even see his fingers, but he's so into it and so, yeah, you know, so swift in his thought. He's completely in that circle, you know. And so you've planted all of your sprouts, your plant, you know. You have become strong and you are ready. And here this is a sneak peek. I have lots to talk about this mystical moment tarot that I got the other day, and I have many thoughts, but for another time. But this is the 9 of Wands, and she's here in a rose bush, and she has all these cuts, but after all these cuts she has achieved the flower, you know. To get at the rose you need to have lots of preparation, and you need this preparation to be able to hold the real challenge, which is the responsibility, the burden of life, the responsibility over your own will, over your own actions as a person. And you can see that as oppression of the world on the free spirits, you know, individuality and everything that I want to do, versus what I now have learned that is virtuous, what is correct, and that oppresses that spirit. But what oppresses it also is what makes the diamond. So you have this pressure that you're withholding, but it is the same pressure that is holding up the world, you know. And you have the harvest, which is also a responsibility, you know. And you can see that as bad, but as a 10, you know, I tend to see this in this way. So now that you are a responsible adult with values, and you're carrying what you have to do, and your will, you're responsible for your will, you can now be considered to be in royalty. You know, you're getting into the royal house, and you're just starting. And you see she's kind of like letting go of the animal. You know, she has controlled this animal. You know, it's not the minotaur anymore. She's now the centaur, and she's going up in flames and being guided by this light. And you are being guided. You know, you're a young man of means now, and you are ready to play with the big boys again. I repeat, but now it's like in royalty, and you have to start again from the beginning of the cycle. And you come to this from transformation, because you become something more, you know, and you go through all of this process You must now exercise that will. And we come to the knight, the prince, the princess, and you want, now that you have reached that level, you know, you're responsible for your actions, you keep yourself in the world, you're a person of means, and you're now facing, you can now want, you have transformed yourself. Now you can go forth to new adventures. You know, you want that next job, you want that promotion, you want that better and better things, you know, you want to accomplish things. And that's the Knight of Wands. And I can see that, especially with the aspiration in the Gill Tarot. I like this a lot. And once you have accomplished these things, you know, now you can reflect upon them and learn the lessons that they have to learn, you know, with water and fire, because the Queen, you can deep dive and see, you know, the meaning of your actions, and she's very aware and illuminated in every sense. You know, the Suit of Wands is very like work heavy, but we can see this more as a illumination. And of course, the union of fire and water gives life. And so now this is a very interesting comparison, because you would see here the card of a person who has to complete dominion over their will. They are in complete control of themselves, and they act in the world with, you know, with full force. So you can see the lion here is a pet, just as in the Queen. You know, oh, I wanted to say this, you know, that the comparison between the Bastet and Sekhmet, I believe. That's the cat and the lioness. And the lioness is, you know, like out of control fire. And Bastet is the goddess of life, and well, she brings life and home and all those things. And here he has his lion completely tamed, and this reminded me a lot of the story of Hercules, sorry, and the lion of Nemea. So it was his, I think it was one of his first, if not his first challenge, was to conquer the lion of Nemea, which he had to wrestle with. And you can be seen as him wrestling with his will, you know, his wand, and he being in control of that, and that now giving him strength. So I see that a lot in this card of Gill, innovation. But here we have more this image of the man in control of his will, and in Thoth, it's a much more aggressive image with the knight of, now that you have your will, to go forth and impose your will and on the world, you know, to act upon it. And on the Gill, it's even chiller, you know, it's the chillest of all. You know, you're just making things happen. So yeah, that was the comparison of the Gill, the Thoth, and the Waite. Thanks. Yeah, bye.